And what this means is, we'll be the dopest duo coming out of Queensbridge.
Welcome to part 2. On part 1, I talked about the super kids, DJ Hot Day, and I kept the second person somewhat of a mystery. Today, you would know him as Tragedy Gaddafi. But before that, he was known as Intelligent Hoodlum. And be advised, this Intelligent Hoodlum thing was huge. It was this huge, this huge.
Do you know who is a very, very serious poet? The Intelligent Hoodlum. Dude be dropping science.
Enters a very important producer on the Intelligent Hoodlum project. Let's call this guy Paul. Now, there was a dude who brought Kid Wave to the high school that Paul went to. But by this time, Paul was called Large Professor. Oh, and Kid Wave was now called Nas. And it was on from there. Rewind. Before Nas was Kid Wave, and he was simply a kid named Nasir Jones in a program for children in Queensbridge. There was another kid in that same program. This kid's name was Keywan. By the time Keywan gets to high school, Keywan meets a kid that called himself the Golden Child. Together they became the Poetic Prophets. Ultimately, you would know the Golden Child as Prodigy, and you would know Keywan as Havoc, a name given to him by Tragedy, Intelligent Hoodlum. And together, the two became Mobb Deep. But we'll get back to that. Something started to happen, something big, after shocking the rap game with his verse on Large Professor's Live at the Barbecue. The world got its first glimpse of a young, soon-to-be icon. The song?
Mind like a computer, the inserter, paragraphs of murder, the nightclub flirter.
Meanwhile, DJ Hot Day, Tragedy's former partner, formerly of the Super Kids, and the legendary black poet, became known as PhD, one of Queensbridge's hardest projects at that time. As a matter of fact, there's a verse on that project from another neighborhood phenom, a dude named Corey. I believe you know him as Cormega.
Mega Mike prototype, I kill static like Illmatic ice.
It was roughly around this time the neighborhood lost Nas's right-hand man, Ill Will. During that time, Large Professor, shout out to Rashad Smith, had started to become a hub for some of hip-hop's all-time greatest lyricists, including Kool G Rap, Rakim, and now a poetic, brilliant, and serious artist, Nas.
Another dose say you might be dead, and I'm a Nike head. I wear chains that excite the feds.
In the words of Havoc, the projects was on fire. Now back to that Cormega line.
Mega Mike prototype, I kill static like Illmatic ice, Illmatic ice.
Illmatic Ice, a OG legend from the hood. But let's take it one step further and go back a little bit more.
The rap automatical, the rhymatical. Forget ill, I get illmatical.
Illmatic was a Queensbridge term that this project that Nas released of that same name changed the trajectory of hip-hop.
It's yours. A little something like this, you know what I'm saying? Stay up, let's start this shit.
Now right quick, come with me to another part of Queens once again, and you'll find this guy.
Back in the days on the boulevard, I landed.
He's becoming a theme here. In previous years, there was a brilliant jazz duo that lived over there, the Heath Brothers. The genius of Q-Tip is showcased as Tip created one of the most prolific and memorable beats in hip-hop.
What up, kid? I know it's rough doing your bit. When the cops came, you should have slid to my crib.
Nas wrote a poetic, lyrical masterpiece in the form of a letter where he mentions Cormega. By the way, you may not have known that Nas is also a visual artist. But I digress. With Mobb Deep's second album, Something Shifted, reflecting on his childhood, Havoc said it felt like God lifted me up and put me in this neighborhood with all these icons and showed me what I should be doing. Herbie Hancock is a musical genius. He's different, and it made perfect sense to utilize his music if you were gonna do something different. Mobb Deep further changed the game. With what? With this.
I got you stuck off the realness. We be the infamous, you heard of us. Official Queensbridge murderers.
Now here's the interesting part. Not only was Prodigy a brilliant lyrical poet and an artist in every sense of the word, they, like Nas, are also visual artists. Have you ever seen Havoc's work?
Yeah, sending this one out.
By this time, the bridge stood atop the hip-hop universe in many ways.
You love to hear the story how the thugs live and worry.
Setting trends that many would follow.
Take your chances. with the Noid.
Yo, Big Noise.
What up, cousin?
I can't cope.
QB's own Big Noid was featured extensively on Mobb Deep's work and ended up getting his own project. I take it you've heard of The Firm. It only featured AZ, Foxy Brown, Nas, Cormega. It also featured another QB hitter, Nature. There are so many people that made an impact. I haven't even talked about Capone of Capone and Noriega. Let me just blow your mind before I go. Remember this award-winning movie? Guess who wrote the rhymes for the battles in this film? And I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge the huge loss in the hip-hop community of one brilliant man by the name of Prodigy.
MOBB got the whole spot jumping when my step in the place. Damn, you gotta love it.
And there you have it.